I'm not really sure what the best build's going to be on the new patch, guys. So I'm really happy for HP to kind of, let's just add 1 or 2 small suggestions for 2-1-1 is kind of going to be the goal. So this is kind of my goals for today. Losing that gas makes no difference when you're 2-1-1ing. Should just be totally chill about it. So we're going to get a few pointers to make 2-1-1 more solid versus Protoss, but more importantly, more focus, game plan, and understanding of TvP, and refining all of that, all of the above. So that's the real goals today. If we're looking at something where I'm like, well, I don't want to teach you a build order because I'm not sure where the meta's going to settle. Maybe the new Cyclone is going to be this integral part, but no doubt the builds will change. Patch just came out today.
The Grim Reaper has arrived.
So we're going to get the most value out of talking about the mid game.
SCV ready.
Talking about learning in general, trying to improve that focus. And by following that vein, we can help the improvement in the mid game and that sort of stuff. You can just take the gas on the low ground if they gas steal you, and it barely delays you, because by the time that finishes, so no need to kill the assimilator.
Okay.
You're doing good. So this is something, if you think about it, guys, you normally drop a factory and a second gas now, right? He needs to drop his second factory real soon. So if he doesn't do that real soon, I'm gonna be like, dude, where is it? Boolia fucked up his second pylon timing, so his stalker was delayed. And that's why he's losing 3 probes here. Could have lost like 2 probes. Could have lost even more. There we go. So that factory is a couple seconds late, but it shouldn't really matter. I think a factory is like, what, a 43-second build time? It's not the end of the world. I'm fine with that. I think he should have kept his Marines in there and cleared that out, but I will. So there it goes. Blue's Protoss is Diamond 2, guys. But as HP said, you know what? It's, you know, he's not always Diamond 1. Sometimes he's on the edge of Diamond 2. And you don't need to play someone who's the exact same level for me to see what he's doing. In fact, if he's in lower pressure, I get to see more of the essence of what he's doing minus reactions, which is great, because then I can be like, dude, you weren't even under pressure, you're winning this game, why are you doing this dumb shit? Whereas if someone's under pressure, there's gonna be more mistakes, more things that fuck up. So this helps me change and help redirect his entire focus whenever he makes any mistakes. It's a very late 2-1-1. No, the factory is like 10 seconds late, honestly. But in TvP especially, whoa, double engineering bay at 4 minutes, what the fuck is that? That's terrible. That's not something you meant to do. Now it's turning into a bad 2-1-1, guys.
Add-on complete.
This better be good.
Pendacan says, I thought it's 4:30. The starport should be started by 3:30, so the factory can go down as late as 2:45. It went down at like 2:57. It's about 12 seconds late on the factory. Often you start the factory earlier than it's needed, but yeah, getting the upgrades this early is really bad. And now just going for 4 gas. Build doesn't make sense. Cool. Awesome. Build doesn't make... It's not the worst thing in the world, don't get me wrong. It's just like, I'm seeing all these things we could do better. Okay. Factory was late. If gas stolen, take gas at natural. But still remember, factory and second gas. Factory was late this game.
Research complete.
Double eBay is way too fast. We also should only go double eBay if we're going full macro mode. Get the build, gets a mega late 3rd CC, so I'm questioning that. I'm just gonna pause real quick here.
Sure.
So this is awesome because this is a coaching scenario and our time is valuable, right? We've only got an hour together. We just flew our medevacs into stalkers.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily dead, but this is gonna be one of those games where like we've got to go full ring girl, like climbing out of the well with her, like you get like the legs over their head and shit. Like you got to get full demonic to bring this game back, man.
Sure.
So let's GG out. Let's throw a GG
Yeah.
Booyah,
I'll chalk this one up to a loss. Yeah.
Yeah, and let's hop out and do that. So already got a couple pointers with your build, which is great. So with that opening, your factory was a little bit late because we were distracted by kind of taking the gas, and then the Reaper was getting some damage. So we've got to remember, before that Reaper goes in, we always need to have started the second gas and the factory by then, because otherwise we get distracted with the Reaper. And as soon as you bounced home, you drop the factory. It was about 12 seconds late, though. That slows down, of course, the starport. The medevacs means those medevacs are boosting out later. We were pretty naughty because we had no map vision, and yet we flew straight through the middle of the map with the medevacs. If you're ever unsure, we should never do that. Always kind of go around an edge a little bit. Never go through that direct path, because if your opponent's pressuring you, that's where they're going to be. The bigger thing is I want to kind of focus on what your game plan is. You talked a bit earlier about, you try a few different things. Sometimes doing one works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think a big part of what we want to get out of today is having more focus, game plan, and understanding of Terran versus Protoss as a matchup. And that encompasses a whole range of things. But one of the best bits here is game plan. There's a few ways we can approach the matchup. For people who are really struggling in TvP, I like encouraging them as a building block to do a big 2-base all-in. Because it gives you a real contained game plan where your early game needs to be tight. And if it's an opening like a 2-1-1, which can just as easily add 2 E-bays, add a go third command center, you can go macro off this for sure. It gives you still the exact same practice that feeds into your macro being good, right? If you get really good at the first 6 minutes of the build, and that 6 minutes is going to help you when, instead of adding 3 more barracks and just going YOLO all in with like tanks and bio and libs or whatever, you're instead going third CC double E-bay. So it's what we're doing though, is we're focusing you extra hard on that early game, because your 2-base all-in is going to fail some games, and you're going to be forced to look at it and say, well, my 2-on-1 hit 20 seconds late, let's tighten up my opening. That's why I didn't get any damage. Because I didn't get any damage, he got his third up, and he had too many charge lots when my push came. So it really kind of focuses you on these like minute details, and it doesn't allow games to go on. You're all in with a 2-base push. Any early mistakes, you're going to get punished for within like an 8-9 minute game frame, right? It's not going to drag on for 20 minutes where we forget about the early mistakes. So that's going to be awesome. So game plan wise, we can go for that 2-base all-in. If you'd rather play macro, I'm totally fine with that. I want you to always be the driver here. So do you want to go for a 2-base push, or do you want to go for the macro play off this? What do you feel?
Let's try and do the 2-base push, because I actually want to see. That's something that like I'm not good at, because I want to play the macro game. Like, I want to get the third CC, I want to get the upgrades all at once. So I like the focused idea of like, okay, here's this, try this out, and then build from there. I like having at least a branching off point. So
it's the same early game. So yeah, you just kind of change that transition. And I think most Terran builds you can do this quite simply with. People always ask me, like when I did a lot of opening videos back with my Pig Daily, and I'd be like up to like the 5-minute or 6-minute mark, I'd be like, there you go. People are like, well, what do I do next? Like, I go barracks or command center, and I'm like, well, that's the thing, is you can do whichever you want, and it's always the same off any opening. It's like, do I go 5 barracks and go all in, or do I go double E-bay and third command center? If you're going 5 barracks, we only want a single engineering bay. The moment your E-bays went down, they were very early, by the way. Probably don't want to get our engineering bays that early. They're a little bit too fast there, because we don't want to slow down our build. But more importantly, if we're doing a 2-base all in, we're not going double E-bay. We can get a single one. We can just get like +1 attack and then maybe eventually +1 armor on it. But we're just going to go extra barracks, 5 barracks. You get out a few medevacs, some tanks, and obviously you can add on liberators after 3 or 4 medevacs. You don't want to get too many medevacs. And then just go for a big push. So it's kind of like you've got one sharp pressure point, the 16 Marines, the 2 medevacs, see what you can get done. And you're building up behind it. You're building up, push out with, let's say, 3 tanks as a baseline and just a ton of bio. And we're just trying to make a big frontal push, leapfrogging our tanks forward to work. So this should be awesome. We're a bit more focused with that plan now. Let's just go a single E-bay, and this should be great. So I'm gonna throw Booyah in one more game. Sher's up next. Sher, you're up next. One more for Booyah. Go. Let's just check they're good to go. They should be. Shashadi says be right back then. No worries, mate. Booyah says go. Let's do it. Awesome. All right, same shit. We're just going to be slightly tighter on the timing. Obviously, medevacs aren't going to fly into stalkers every game. That was a freak thing. But yeah, this should be great. Just trying to get that 2-base push going. One of the big problems people have as well is they do this. They go, cool, it's an all-in. It's an easier way of playing StarCraft. I should win. Realistically, your approach should be, I've never fucking done this before. I should lose my first 4 or 5 games while I just get everything down and try to remember all the pieces of it.
Right.
You know, we shouldn't expect when we're trying something new to be able to perform at our normal level. So we're just trying to focus on refining the pieces of this, get as good at it. If we get a win, that's fucking spectacular. But that's only the cherry on top of the cake.
Okay.
Awesome, man. All right, nice tie at 2-on-1. Let's kick some ass.
SCV ready.
Awesome. How y'all doing, guys? I'm just finishing the dregs of my burrito bowl, guys. I'm just gonna fucking wolf this down.
Additional supply depots required.
Pendagan, you make me giggle, dude. You make me giggle.
SCV ready.
Because instant justice is delivered. In comes a paddle.
We only learn from our mistakes, Don Pato.
An eye for an eye.
That's exactly it. The more mistakes you make, the better.
Dick for a dick.
X Big White, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub, my friend.
SCV ready.
Is this not Maru's old 2-on-1? Said Defiance. 2-on-1, I mean, Beyond Maru. Beyond was the guy who popularized it in Legacy. Maru brought it back after we hadn't seen pros doing it much for a long time last year. So there's... You can go back to Wings of Liberty and this was a build. So whoever we attribute it to, I mean, this is just the standard 2-on-1. Really stock standard build, nothing crazy. I don't like that gas choice. So I'm gonna write a little note in our document here. If you guys are worried about a gas steal, it's really easy. All you need to do is hold
Command
position a
center
worker
upgrade
next to that.
complete.
It's much cheaper than throwing 75 minerals down and slowing down your command center. Look, now he's going second barracks, but look, his reactor's delayed. Delaying his reactor by a few seconds. So this little flow-on effect of wasting that 75 gas just to stop your opponent from stealing it. It's not the worst decision, but it could easily be achieved by just hold positioning a worker next to the gas. That way you can't build on a gas that has a worker next to it. A lot of people don't know that, so I'm gonna write that down now. Game 2.
Additional supply
Second
depots
gas to
required.
block the gas steal. Not worth it. Slows your whole
Add-on
build down
complete.
and is a reaction to something that hasn't happened yet. AKA playing scared.
SCV ready.
Not just that, but taking gas on your
Our
natural
SCVs
doesn't
are under
hurt.
attack.
2-1-1 at all.
Gangway.
So, draining 75 protoss minerals is actually a nice win for us.
Add-on complete.
Likewise, you can block the gas steal much cheaper by hold positioning an SCV next to the gas.
Better be good.
It blocks the gas going down as extractor, assimilator, / refineries are bigger than the actual geyser. So if you're standing next to it, it gets blocked. Cool little micro trick you can do.
You want a piece of me, boy?
Music sounds wonky? I think it's normal. It's a little loud, but that's cool.
Command
Yeah.
center
Oh, yeah.
upgrade
Sometimes
complete.
the browser will fuck up. Yeah. Refresh your browser
SCV ready.
if the audio goes weird.
Who wants some? SCV ready.
So you'd like to be leaving your base about 4 minutes 40 with the medevacs. However, it's okay to be a little bit late on that. Especially since I sometimes play GMs who move out even later than that.
Add-on complete.
$43, $45 was his high, says Robin. Did he hit any supply blocks, guys? I wasn't watching the supply.
SCV ready.
Is it worth bringing up camera hotkeys? Because we're just doing a single hour, I don't want to talk about mechanics. It's also because he didn't take the time to fill out all the mechanics info that I send people out, Shoshadi. So if someone isn't kind of methodical enough to be one of these super methodical nerds that sits there and like looks through all the mechanics notes that I send out when I first email someone, I kind of just assume, you know what, it's probably not worth trying to be like, hey, this is a good thing, because people trust my voice too much. So if I'm like, even if I say, oh, only, oh no, get out of there, run, run, run.
Complete.
Stim, he's not stimming his brains. Oh, yes. Oh no, Blink's gonna finish. Oh, Booyah with the big miss micro there. Oh my god, 2 stalkers on red hit points. I would have chased him down. I would have gone full YOLO there.
Armed and ready.
So let's see him fix his macro now. So this time he didn't go double eBay, he's got tanks building. Where's his... Guys on gas, that's good. The fuck is this though? Oh my god. Guys, if you ever feel an urge to just rally shit across the map as a Terran, don't do it. It's gonna work because Bully as an off racer is being a bit of a greedy shit. Actually, it still shouldn't work. If he just moves out and actually engages this. If he lets the tank siege up, HP benefits from this. Oh my god, what do you... No. What is going... Oh, he's gonna siege it there? Okay, this is cute. This is cute. Terran players like the masters of cute moves. I kind of like it. I have a bit of a boner right now, guys. I don't know if I agree with shooting down the Cyber Core, since it's not the most high value target. The tank's getting great value. Problem here is the miss micro. Yeah. So the reason this is a bad move, even though it looks good, is because it's super unreliable. So if Bully was a more weathered player, more seasoned player, he would have put down 6 more gateways. They'd be finishing up. He'd win the game from him. So I mean, he's running away with damage. The problem is at no point is he actually macroing properly in all of this. HP is only able to queue up more units as he loses units because he hasn't built a depot in forever. He's gonna win the game, but he went way too.
Hooray!
Alright, we ran away with that one. Got some nice momentum there. However, we did not go home in macro for about 2 minutes there, so definitely super risky. If he holds that, should be game over. He's got a third up, and he was floating 2,000 minerals there. We were floating 1,300. So you found an opportunity and you got damage done with it. But this is a really good move, which I never want to like squish this out of players, but I want to remind them that it's super unreliable, and you can do the same sort of awesome on the fly. Let's siege a tank on the high ground, like drop in the main. Like that was a cool maneuver, but if he'd moved out with his stalkers, we would have just been fucking destroyed, right? In so many scenarios. Even if he just wore us down as we were pushing across the map with just blinking back and forcing stims out, like we'd be worn out by the time we get to his side of the map. So the real problem with this move is every second that goes by that we're not looking at home and building more depots and adding our next 3 barracks, it costs us. And if we slow down by 5 seconds and we put down bam, 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 barracks, 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 get 2 SCVs building depots, assign those as depot builders. One little habit there. I notice you build depots behind your mineral lines and then you often put back to mining after. It's really nice if you try to always just build them in a nice, neat grid in a consistent area in your main base. Like on this map, it would be next to where your gas was in your main. You could just build a nice, tight grid of depots so that it's like this mechanical habit where every time you go back to add add-ons, upgrades, build more units, you also are throwing more depots down in the same spot, so that it's not this like haphazard kind of like, oh, grab SCVs from here, build depot, put back on minerals, oh crap. Because then you end up hitting these supply blocks, whereas you want it to be this like zero thought natural habit. Once you get your production up, you just continually building depots 2 at a time until you're maxed out, basically.
Gotcha.
So I think we could have achieved the same sort of really nice pressure here whilst adding those barracks. And if we wanted to play it really safe, really conservative, leave the tank at home. Just go across the map with the Marines and the medevacs. We'd shut down his stalkers, poke around, see if we can run in the 3rd mineral line or something. But we're really focused more than anything on let's get the barracks up. Let's have the tanks building, have the medevacs, and then eventually liberators building. Let's do all that. I think something we saw here with your mineral gas ratio, you were pretty gas starved as well. I think with the 2 base all in, it's always better to err on the side of caution and just build the 4th gas relatively early.
Okay.
Just because those tanks, eventually libs, are so important. If you've got a lot of gas in the bank, obviously you can skip it if something's going weird in the early game. But normally it's like, man, you're going to be like, fuck, I can only afford a medevac or a tank, and you queue up medevacs first, and then you don't realize your tank's never queued up, and you're like, oh, shit. So it's nice to kind of do it that way. We're going to host up a different map now. We'll let Shadi in. Let's try and do the same thing. The build order was a bit cleaner that game. Now, obviously, the stalkers keep kind of fucking up your drop timing.
Right.
I doubt that's going to happen.
Very good with stalkers.
They were really throwing a spanner in the wrench for sure. So we're going to try and we'll do a bigger map, Parasite. It's a big map, hard to get our push across, but also slower for them to pressure us. So let's just play this map out, see what we can do. I'm sure Shadi no doubt will play a different style of Protoss, so good as well. Not only are we refining shit, but we're gonna get a taste of someone who plays a bit different. Spanner in the works, not a spanner in the wrench, Pendacan. Did I say that? Pretty sure I didn't. Pretty sure you
Yep.
guys are trolling. Wrenches inside wrenches, indeed.
It all
All
works.
Let's go. Good luck. Have fun. Sure, Shoddy should be ready. Accepted the invites. Let's do it. Fucking wrenchception, indeed. Oh my god. We're gonna throw a wrench inside the wrench of Shoshardy's base. Let's fucking do it. 2-on-1.
Exactly.
Nice 2-base tank push. He knows what's coming, and what I find is when you're not playing with like super high level pros who are used to playing as a practice partner and just playing like a standard style and not blind countering, good chance he kind of blind counters a bit without even scouting. It's just like, you know, he's already in the mindset, and he should shut the push down. Shoshardy's a Masters 3, barely Masters 3, as he puts it. So he's a bit higher than us. We're doing a new build, and that's why we don't care so much about whether or not we win or lose. As I said before, much harder opponent. We just want to make sure we're kind of hitting our macro and building those consistent pieces of muscle memory, which over your games fuel you more and more. So I kind of like to think of it in terms of macro can be learnt as one phase and the micro can be learnt as another.
Additional
And I think it's
supply.
always better to have the macro phase learnt first, because that's what gives you the set of units you're going to be using, right? So
Right.
if you practice the micro with your aggression first, the problem is with the follow-up push, you don't have the normal unit set because you're not macroing behind it. Whereas if we learn the macro first and then we learn to be a bit faster, a bit better with our double drop to find more damage, and you know, we're going to always have the same timing with those 16 Marines that we're hitting because we're super clean on the macro. We're going to have the same 3-tank big Marine push out, a couple of Liberators rallying in to support it, and that's going to kind of really solidify the position we're in because, you know, we're going to learn to micro off the same unit set at roughly the same timing in each game. It's going to create a really good kind of staircase for us to learn this style. And then later on we can do third command centers and fancy macro plays and all that sort of shit. But for now, we're doing great. We're going to smash it out with another beautiful 2-on-1 build. Always send an extra SCV down ahead of time when there's a probe. Kind of assume he's going to be a dickhead is a nice way to just kind of, you know, keep one on him. Because if he comes down and blocks and harasses, it can always throw you off. But you're doing really good. Keep it up.
Cool.
Alright. Talking a little bit long into this game, I think I should have given him a bit more time to kind of just settle into his rhythm in this early game.
Command center
Don't want to
upgrade
flood the
complete.
person's brain with too much information, which is what I kind of did there. So not optimum coaching, but what else?
The Grim Reaper has arrived.
SCV ready.
Fucking hell, urban student.
SCV ready.
Rice with mayo? How do you even think of that as a thing on Rival? It's a burrito bowl. It's basically a burrito, just sub out the burrito for rice.
SCV ready.
You guys eat rice with mayo?
Add-on complete.
Can I get a shout out for all the white people out there? Fucking eating rice with mayo. Can you guys get whiter than that? That's insane. Are you from the Netherlands, Unravel, or some shit? I'm like, how do you get so white that you have rice with mayo? That's insane. You gonna pour some milk on that as well, buddy? I love learning about the cultures of the world. I love it. I love it. I love it. No. Please tell me, where are you from? Where is that? Where is that from? It sounds fucked up. It's a salad?
West. Bam.
Command
Eat it in
center
Japan?
upgrade complete.
Japanese people eat some whack shit. I love most Japanese food, but Japanese people have some things where I'm like, you didn't think this through. Rice with mayo is up there. Oh no. It's pineapple with pizza. Pineapple and pizza all over again. This depot's a shit depot. That depot should be at the wall against Protoss. Let's write that note down before I forget.
Add-on.
Pizza with mayo is worrisome. Okay, that's is worse. Yeah, that's a little bit weird, but I mean, I guess there's somewhere you could drizzle it on. That'd be all right.
SCV ready.
Medevacs are much tighter timed this time. I don't know why we're not building a wall. It's a bad habit against pros. Like if they go Colossi, you're like, oh sweet, I didn't want a wall. If they go chargelets or adepts, you're like, fuck! You're gonna be like throwing down engineering bays to try to cut your entrance off.
Coming through.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
Oh my god, why? There we go.
Ready for dust
Am I
off.
on this camera?
That's silly Marine.
SCV
I didn't catch
ready.
what happened there. Guys in chat, update me. Always wall off versus Zerg and Protoss with third depot onwards.
Add-on
Nice.
complete.
Good that he didn't stim there. I would have stum there. That's right. Stum, it's totally a word. It's the verb usage of stim. It means to stim. As in, I stummed my Marines and they got a nice high.
SCV
And
ready.
also shot faster.
Research complete.
Hopefully you guys learn good English from this stream. That's what I'm here for.
Gangway. Coming through.
SCV ready.
Oh, Stim wasn't quite ready? Good point. I'm looking at my second, my document here, writing some notes for him. So where's the third gas? Is he put on it yet?
SCV ready.
Gas is on the natural, and normally we would want to go tanks and libs. We can use mines. We'll just want to go into liberators right after these two medevacs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went with the mine just because the oh fuck. Because
See
of
a
the
Colossus with
phoenixes.
Marines, you always go the other way the moment you see that.
Okay, fair
No
enough.
worries.
Ready for
Yeah, mines can be good versus phoenixes because you're doing a 2-base push. It's actually just like usually better to just go straight for the tanks because the mines allow us to push through positions. Sorry, the tanks
Okay.
and liberators do. So let's get liberators queued up. We've got to get those guys on
Upgrade
gases.
complete.
And we just continue to build tons of Marines here, tons of depots, and really just making sure we, you know, try to repair the medevacs that are there. We're just trying to make sure we really don't miss a beat with our macro for the next minute or two. So you're doing really good. Like +1 armor, not that important compared to say liberators and stuff because it takes a long time to kick in. But the big problem we had this game is we just forgot that third gas. We kind of, you know, forgot the fourth gas as well for a long time. So that's going to slow us down.
Complete.
That's okay. Just keep queuing up Marines and Libs. Obviously, you can get some Marauders on the tech labs as well. Since we've seen Colossi, Marauders will be the more effective unit. And your Widow Mines just shot some Phoenix down. Very nice.
Reporting for action.
Gangway. Coming through. Go, go, go.
So looking at these sort of games, it's not about hitting everything perfectly. It's about realizing, well, why the fuck did I not have any
I
gas?
feel like I'm over
Etc. Etc.
oversupply block or oversupply depot because of trying this out.
Liberation is at hand.
Yeah. So what you did is you were still building the depots, the other depots, like 3 at a time, and you started your depot builder as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely something where it did go over, but that's all right. So you should definitely be gearing up for your push
Complete.
and moving out sooner rather than later. Always sending a Marine ahead of your force, of course. You know, when you get closer, scanning and trying to just set up this push, making sure our Liberators are kind of edging forward and we're covering them with everything. And just keep rallying Marine, Marauder, Lib. Because we're all in, we can rally across the map. Normally, I would just get really angry if I see you rallying across the map. I'd be like, don't do that.
Reporting for
On this
action.
stage, it's okay. Good luck.
This better be good.
Oh my god, does he not have a Liberator hotkey? Oh, gross! Gross! Oh my god, everything's on one control group with a Biomine Lib army. Oh, fuck me. Okay, that's a big one.
Liberation is at hand.
Need a second army control group. In this case, for Libs, but it could be for tanks or mines. Whatever the most important support unit is. Oh, that Marine could barely reach that. Ooh, nice Colossi angling.
Mineral
Oh,
field
he's left 2 libs
depleted.
at home. Oh my god, what's he doing?
Go, go, go.
Okay, good, he's doing it. He's doing it. Okay, good.
Oh, it's on.
If you keep rallying libs, you'd be amazed how many players you can break. I were him with this many. Oh,
Mineral
oh,
field
he's caught him out of
depleted.
position. Sure thought he was moving to the right. Oh my god. That's a nice start. The thing is, the army is what you really need to kill here. A second stim there, very dangerous. Oh my god, and no spreading on the bio. Yeah, where are the libs? Where are the libs? Because he doesn't have control groups, so he's not bringing them in at all.
Okay, yeah. That's
It's alright, GG.
that's something I
It was a
really
good
got to
one.
try.
Yeah, so like I said, you know, tanks there. Imagine how different.
Tanks
that
would be
with
way
tanks.
better.
Way better. But we also found something else really big. You don't use a second army group. Oh.
It's true.
You're using a standard hotkey layout?
Standard is how you mean?
Just like the basic normal.
Oh no, I have
hotkeys?
like kind of like a custom hotkeys. I have most of my stuff on ASD.
Okay, so it's like a modified grid basically.
Yeah.
Are you just using 1 through 5, 6 control groups? Like you're just using
About
them as normal?
1 through 7. Typically command centers. All of my command centers are on 2. And then 3, 4, 5 for racks, factories, Stargate or Starport, and then 5, 6, 7 for upgrades.
Cool. So I think we can definitely say you need at least one of the control group, because like if you're doing a drop, do you control group it, or do you just deselect it from your army? What do you do?
I'm kind of all over the map. I'm usually clicking on the map to where it is, and then spacebar takes me back. Like I don't do camera hotkeys like the F, like F1 through 2 or F2 through 4. I have spacebar that gets me through to the
That's your
command
base cam.
centers.
You rebound. That
Yeah.
base cam. Yep. Okay, that's not a bad way to do that. That's like a okay in between. But yeah, we absolutely got to have like the libs or the tanks, whatever the most important secondary unit is on a different control group.
Okay.
And we would love to have a third group as either a defense squad or a counterattack squad. So you think about it, there's a warp prism. You only want to leave a handful of Marines, but if don't have them control group, you might be like, oh, we're gonna click on the minimap and like find them. Whereas, oh, you see the warp prism coming on the minimap, you literally can just stim using that control group and A move it on the minimap. You don't even need to look at home. Beautiful.
Okay.
Likewise, you know what? There's 3 drops I've split off while I'm defending the Colossi at my home. They need to be on a control group, so I can quickly double tap it, zoom to them, boost in, and unload in their main base and fuck them up. So for you, everyone's different. You want to check out if there's any hotkeys that are available. We're not going to do it today because it'll take too much getting used to. After the coaching session, I want you to look through your hotkeys, see if Q, W, any of these keys are free.
Okay.
Basically, you need 2 more control groups. Now, if you think about it, it's really easy to customize. Just make 0 or 9, one of those control groups, the same. So you just go through all your control groups, change all the zeros to tilde, the key to the left of 1.
Okay.
And then that just turns that into a normal control group hotkey, right? So you need 2 more control groups, tilde, etc. Yep.
Real quick question: how do you get off the fancy drug that has been in HOTS, the group all army? Because I've actually been using that like since its inception, and I cannot get off of grab all.
Yeah, well, you gotta just deselect it and be really focused on it. It's something which is definitely very, very attractive, and it's easy to fall into. You've kind of got to stop focusing on winning your ladder games for a bit and be like, let's rebuild this muscle memory. And the more you focus on that, the more you slow down and deliberately try to, basically remove the hotkey and don't click on the minimap. Anytime you go to do it, immediately be like, no, it's more important for me to learn this thing than it is to win this game, right?
Yeah.
Because anytime you revert, you fuck your brain up. So whenever you're trying to learn new muscle memory, your brain is like, in X situation, I do Y. And you're like, that's right, brain, that's what we're doing. We're learning that. And then you're like, no, I gotta do Z. I just gotta win. Do the thing that I know how to do fast. And then every time you encounter that situation, your brain then has 2 different responses that pop up. And you're like, no. So you become worse at the old thing while not properly learning the new thing. And you end up in this in-between where you just end up worse at StarCraft as a whole. Tons of people do this when they're learning a new mechanic, which is why I tell people it's a commitment. You've got to hop on, treat your ladder as practice, do even a bit of mechanics practice. You can like run some drills or you're just control grouping against no opponent. You're doing a build and you're control grouping your army and you're making sure you're really methodical with how you separate units and how you split them up. And you can run through that just to have the repetitive practice. But the moment people are like, nah, I'm just going to go and play 100% competitive. All I care about is winning ladder points because every game my ego lives or dies by whether or not I win or lose. you're never going to learn. And these are the people who come back and say, you said this mechanic's good, pig. I tried it, didn't fucking work. It was shit. And I lost 1,000 MMR and now I don't play StarCraft anymore or something. And I'm like, well, that's why I always say, like, it's a big commitment, man. You got to be willing to lose a bunch of games. And you know what? You can play with F2. It's not going to ruin your day. If you're not willing to put in that commitment and treat the game as more than a game and actually practice it and be like, yeah, this is like a sport. This is a skill. Like, I want to get better at it. You can't be fucked doing that. Keep playing with F2. Don't try to change it. A lot of people are really unrealistic. They have like a disconnect between the fact that they are just playing the game as a real fun, casual game, but then they also kind of think they've got the commitment to do it. And whenever people like that, I really try to bring them back to reality. I'm like, no, you don't have the commitment. Don't worry about it. It's a real personal choice. If you want to do it, just D hotkey it, get rid of it. Tilde and caps lock are 2 suggestions, but see if there's any other keys. See if there's any other nice accessible keys you aren't using. So like W, Q, anything like that.
Stuff that just isn't on the key. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, just anything that isn't on another hotkey or anything, right?
Yeah.
Because control groups is something you need to be able to select at all times. So it can't overlap with any ability,
Right.
anything like that. So an easy way to test it is you go in, you're like, oh, let's see if Q can be a control group. And it's like, unbound 17 keys. And you're like, nope, I can't use that.
It's like, no! Yeah, exactly.
Though, if you don't off race, it might be okay to do that. Because then you can, it might be doing the other races. If it's undoing the other races shit, it doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Awesome. Cool. How long have we been on call? We started, okay, so we've got a bit longer. We can squeeze in another game. That'll be some awesome homework after today. Let's cast our mind back in that game. Always going tech lab. Okay, so that's going to be one thing we learned. So always tech lab with 2 base all in, even versus Stargate. Your gas. So we need a trigger for when you take your gases on your natural. What do you think's a good trigger? Or maybe you take the 3rd nice and early, but the 4th comes down a bit later.
Would it be a good idea, like maybe on the initial push of the first 16 greens that's when I would drop the 2 gas, or would that be too late
like
for
as you're picking up or as you're landing them?
as I'm picking up?
I think that's a perfect timing.
Okay.
So basically that's usually about 440 as we pick up Marines. Add double gas. Because there's a thing, right? You load up, control group, or you control group, you load up, you boost across the map, and you know you've got 20 seconds or so till it gets to the other side of the map, right? So you're like, add gases, add a depot, add an engineering bay, let's get the tech lab on the factory. You kind of like, you're doing all those things, and then you're like, oh, okay, we're near the enemy base, let's boost in, unload, and micro for a bit. And then you bounce home, and you go, okay, put on gas, put the extra guys on gas, add the extra barracks, etc., etc. So trying to remember those points, especially when things heat up, is very important, right? It's easy to just do a build order and feel like we're pretty good at StarCraft, but the moment we start pressuring, it's easy to forget. We can't just necessarily say 4 minutes 37, do the thing if we're microing Hellions at 4 minutes 37. So we want to have like a set trigger where it's like, well, normally at this time I poke in with my Hellions or I load up my Marines. Okay. As that happens, it links up and that triggers us to drop those gases, and that way we never forget them. Awesome.
I like it.
We're looking good. Okay. Here we go. Good luck, have fun. Thanks for the patience, gang. Alright.
Yeah, I've been playing since like Wings of Liberty beta, so all of those like muscle memory things are definitely gonna be like a full month-long process to just like disassemble and then reassemble back. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
it's something where if you do it, you'd actually be surprised how quickly. Like, expect it to be a month and go in there patiently doing it, but like every day, be like, especially if you hop into like an empty custom game before you ladder every day, you just play like 10-15 minutes against no opponents, and you're just trying to like, oh, let's imagine I'm dropping, sending these units there. Oh, let's imagine I'm splitting my army in 2 to deal with a 2-pronged harassment. And you're like really methodically doing that, and you're kind of just running through those simulations. You will learn a lot faster. But just remember, every time you break practice, it goes from being a 1-week period of relearning, because I've heard people who've practiced it really hard, and it's like 3 days, and they're like, I'm totally comfortable without F2 now. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, yeah, I'm a programmer who uses a Dvorak keyboard and has like taught myself how to do a billion different weird, unintuitive things in my life. So that they're just experienced learners who've learned different hotkey setups, different keyboard layouts before. So for them, it's something. Sometimes they're guitar players or piano players as well. Like they've got that experience, which feeds into it. Other times people is like, it's 2 months and I'm finally there, and I'm like, yeah, you didn't do any focus practice, and you kept getting too competitive in your ladder games and breaking it and using the old habit. Otherwise, there's no reason it should take 2 months, you know. So there's two extremes. Realistically, we'll fall somewhere in between, but we'll aim for the couple of days to 1 week transition. But for now, we're just focusing on your normal shit. Just play the way you normally would. We don't care about using F2 in this game. We're focusing more on getting used to these new build adjustments. We're going to hit this 2 base time. We're going to hit a nice 2-on-1. Your build was really crisp last game in the early game. So let's keep that going.
Cool.
Our SCVs are under attack.
There's a 5.0 core, Siegfried? I use the Core
Command
Plus,
center
which
upgrade
is
complete.
similar to the Core, I believe 3.0 is the current one, isn't it? I didn't realize they released a 4.0. Did they?
The Grim Reaper
Which is, I believe, the most, it's basically the preamble to the most recent version. It's very similar.
SCV ready.
But I started using it in 2015, well before it was released. I was a guinea pig. Thankfully, Jack Attack was there. I was like, yeah, I'll do that as long as you're there to help me every time stuff fucks up. I didn't realize they actually released. You said 4.0 was a while ago. That was like a year and a half, right? 5.0 was just released last week. Really? Who works on it these days? I can't imagine Jack has enough time to work on it. Must be a bunch of people helping him out. This is why you always remember where ledges are, guys.
Complete.
So that's the safe point there. If you run here and the shade chases you on the high ground, you can jump down. You've got to remember where ledges are. I don't think you can jump up and down there. He also could have ran this way and jumped up there. Always remember where your ledges are on each map. That's how you escape adept shades. You've got to find a ledge.
Add-on complete.
who wants some?
They added campaign and co-op support. There are also some other changes. Oh, that's cool. Dude, that would have been a ton of work to add co-op support. That's insane.
SCV ready.
I mean, you can
Command
just
center
customize that
upgrade
back to whatever you
complete.
prefer, Siegfried. Your hotkeys of what you use for units should almost always, unless it's actually conflicting with something new, like you should always customize it to your own keys. You shouldn't just be like, I'm just gonna change all my hotkeys, because that's crazy. That makes no sense. Likewise, if you don't have any issues with it, you shouldn't change it. Yeah, gateways spawn with autocast now, live. You have to turn it off and then turn them back.
This better be good.
SCV ready.
Deep dish oily pan pizza's the best.
Coming through.
Well, I don't know, dude. If we're talking cheap pizza, yeah, I like that. But if we're talking fancy pizza,
Add-on.
should be pretty thin. Like a good, fresh, wood-fired, like sourdough, or it doesn't have to even be sourdough, just any really good, fresh, delicious dough. That shit should be relatively thin. Like, there's some great cheap pizza in the world, don't get me wrong, but when you have like a really good Italian wood-fired pizza, it takes a dump on most other foods. Like, I am passionate about pizza, guys. I am passionate. So we took the gases a little bit early there, right, guys? But I'd rather early than late.
Ready for somebody. Get me out of this mess.
Go, go, go!
I make my own pizza as well, but it's super basic dough. I make like basic bitch dough. I just like making the dough, and I like the smell of the yeast rising. And there's just something really fun about like kneading the dough and everything. It's actually like super relaxing. And then just fucking I like every now and then I'll make a fancy pizza with like, you know, not too much topping. But normally I'm like, I just make it full like fucking just covered in like salami and like spicy salami, red capsicum, onions. Make my own super basic pizza sauce, which is basically just fucking tomatoes and herbs and garlic and a bit of onion. Oh my god, that Colossi timing. Yeah, go the other way. That Colossi, oh, if that was like 5 seconds later, both sentries go down. It's a good pullback there. doing really good, man. Let's just make sure we don't lose the medevacs. Remember, he does have a couple Phoenix out, but he didn't really have many stalkers, so as long as we're careful, we should be okay.
Reporting for action.
Now, a lot of people get panicked at this point because they'll be like, oh, Protoss is going to be building tech units, or Protoss is up on 3 base. Just remember, the longer the game goes, it's not worse for a long time, because you're adding more tanks, more libs. The more you build up that count, and the better they're positioned, it becomes almost unengageable for Protoss, right? So, whilst yes, there should be some urgency on pushing hard and fast, like right now, that 3rd CC, unnecessary. We can keep it, but bio units are not queued at all right now, neither are depots, right? So if you ever go, oh, I've got 600 minerals, let's put down a 3rd command center, instead you should be thinking, let's make sure I've got a ton more bio queued, so I'm not missing a beat, and I've got more depots queued. Don't fall into the trap of building that 3rd CC, unless you've really got a ton of resources. But yeah, this is great. Let's go push this. A cool habit you can build is always don't drop mules from this point onwards, because we want to save scans. And usually you want to scan just outside your natural when you move out, because that's a very common pervert spot. So in future games we can do that. But for now, let's go ahead, stim a marine ahead or scan ahead of your army. Preferably a marine is always nice. And really figure out where you want to push. Set up a beautiful pre-spread. Let's go smash some face in. It's taking so long to siege these libs, man. Come on. There we go. This is just lack of control groups. Yeah. Oh my god, his marine micro is really bad.
Nah.
Why are we running forward? What are we doing? This should be the easiest fight of our life.
That was terrible.
Pipu happens. It's an ancient Congolese saying that describes how sometimes shit falls out of your ass. Even now, you can still potentially win, dude. Just get those marines to actually cover the tanks. So all we needed to do there was pull those marines back to cover the siege tanks. You know they've got Phoenix. We're always going to have at least 10 marines stand next to those tanks. Even now, we still got a position. We haven't been sieging those libs. What's going on? You know, we should always be sieging those libs. Rally everything across. Queue up. Marines and marauders. We're not building units. Come on, come on, come on. Billions of marines and marauders.
All hands to battle station.
Before we enter a micro situation, we should always queue up extra units knowing we're going to miss macro a little bit. So keep rallying tons of bio. Keep sieging these tanks. Yep, always fight in tank range wherever possible. Keep just rallying marines, marauders. We can absolutely still make this happen. Yeah. So what you'll find is the amount Protoss players fuck up when they're being 2-base pushed is insane. Like, it's something where I used to have the same thing where I'd fuck up the start of the engage and I'd like lose hope. You gotta remember, there is wiggle room. So if we just pulled our reinforce over and stopped those Phoenix from lifting the siege tanks and actually queued up more units, we would have had him there. Because yeah, he didn't have the mobility to reinforce with enough gateways because he's very tech unit heavy, and he didn't have any real charge lot stalker count on the ground. So yeah, it was something where the build was so much tighter this game though. The amount of units we built and everything was fantastic. Keep building the same army. We're gonna build up for one more push. Should it work? No. Is there a chance? Fuck yeah, there is. There's always a chance. Scan outside your natural as well. Oh, we did forget +1 as well. So let's add +1 on the bio. Keep building Marine Marauder, Tank, Lib. You can add another medevac or 2 in if you want as well. But yeah, just keep building this army. You'd be amazed how many people will die to this, dude. You'll be like, well, there's no way I should win. And they're building a 4th and Storm, and your next wave hits, and they just don't have enough units, and you win. I know this because I've lost a lot of games as Protoss in the same way, so you get a bit cocky sometimes. Always good to just stay focused on our basics. We don't care about winning or losing, we care about getting better at all these individual pieces, and we are almost there. So yeah, choose your timing. Could be any time in the next minute or 2 that you move out. Obviously you wait longer, you can have a better army, but so is he. You can go sooner. You can always queue up a lib or a drop to hit a different base as well if you want to add a distraction in there. Totally up to you. I kind of like that idea. Play this. Yeah. Just make sure, obviously, you don't send it in until your front army's pushing as well. Time them out together, and you should kick some ass. Good luck. What would be the order in a fight with that unit composition? Siege tanks, siege libs, and then micro marines, says Mucephal. I mean, the problem is he doesn't have his units on separate keys. So whatever you consider be most important unit is what you do first. I would say liberator is the more important unit once at this point. Previous fight, probably siege tanks, because he only had 2 libs. But the important thing is, yeah, just siege should always be happening. Like, you're scouting ahead so you see where his army is. Like, he gave the command to siege his tanks, and then he just kind of stood his army and stared at it. Didn't siege his libs. He had so much time. So I think also, I'm not sure if he's queuing up the siege on his tanks or not. I'm going to double check that. You'd be amazed how high level some players get without doing it. This push makes no sense. Leapfrog the tanks and libs. Don't ever stim out of range of them with your bio. It's always tempting. Don't give in to the urge to throw the game. This is how most Terrans lose their ladder games. Pull the bio back. The bio should always be kind of slightly behind the tanks and libs, and only go forward when your opponent really commits. So just keep sieging these libs and tanks forward a little at a time. You're doing really good. Just keep queuing up tons of Marines and Marauders. We should be just like holding down the D and A key, the Marine and Marauder building keys, and we keep moving the bio forward in little squads so that they're kind of nearby. We don't want to stim unless our opponent really commits. Just keep that bio back. So we keep accidentally sending the bio. The bio should be next to the siege tanks, not in front, not behind. The rest of your bio is too far back. Move it forward a little. And remember, we're not using our control group ever. It's all just boxing and clicking. Keep moving these siege tanks and libs forward 1 or 2 at a time. Keep queuing up tons of Marines and Marauders. Let's try and make this push work. So he moved the libs way too far forward there, didn't he? What's he doing? He's very uncomfortable at microing his units. He's really uncomfortable at it. He absolutely could have won with his push. Look at how hard Shoshadi's...
This is definitely very new to me. So it's like...
Yeah, we almost broke
it. Yeah, trying to think it through, like...
It's one of the most stressful compositions, dude. Like, when you're not used to it, because you're trying to figure out where you want to siege each unit, right? You're like, wait, do the tanks go here or here? Do the libs go here or here? Your libs went like 100, maybe 200 range, like 2 hexes too far forward. The Phoenix got him, and your Marines couldn't really stim forward to catch him. It was like, oh, we just lost 4 or 5 libs. If they were alive in that fight, we win the game. So many of these little changes. Think about how much of a shit show this game was. This is like the biggest piece of hope we get. That's what I love about this specific all-in is, imagine if we kept those libs alive. The second wave, which never should have worked, would have worked. How fucking empowering is that as a Terran player? You're like, holy shit. My first army got fucking massacred. The first army, if we kept our Marines back covering the siege tanks from the lifts and just kept them behind the tanks and libs, we would have won with the first push. One of a dozen mistakes in this game we fix, we win the game. And that's like, oh fuck. It's not about fixing all of them. It's about fixing 1 or 2 mistakes and turning a close loss into a very convincing win. And that's fucking awesome. So this is great. This is fantastic. So we can kind of tap out now. Our coaching time is up. This is timed out actually perfectly. Question. Are you using shift to siege up your tanks? Like unsiege, right-click, shift siege? Or are you waiting for it to move into position and then sieging it?
No, I'm using shift.
Just checking. Good. Wanted to make sure. Because your first siege up, you looked really uncomfortable with it. But that, like I said, and you were saying then, you're not used to this. It's weird trying to figure it out. So what you're going to develop as you get better at this is every map, you know where you're going to push ahead of time. Now, he took a weird third. Shoshadi takes a weird third there. But even then, now we've encountered that, we know where we want our siege tanks, right? So you always want to, as you're moving out, you're already thinking about kind of where your ideal setup positions are and how you're going to leapfrog forward. And once you've done it once or twice on each map, you're like, oh, fuck yeah, I can do this so quickly. Because you're not having to think about it. You're just like, unsiege tanks, leapfrog, bam, siege all the libs. Just in front of them, spread the bio. We were also doing that thing, like, and I've done this a lot of times as well, when I was first learning this build, you dropped in the main, he wasn't ready for it, and you're like, let's fucking go while he's distracted, and you like stim your bio for it, and all your tanks and libs are like just out of range sitting there, and we're like, wait, this is not how we want to fight. It's
right, I was like way out of position. I was like, I had the right thought process, but the wrong mechanics there. I was like, yeah, this should work. That's not.
Exactly. I was like, I remember, I had this like moment of like, I remember doing this when I was learning to do 2-base all-ins versus protoss. It was really funny. I'm like, oh yeah, I've done that before. I'm like, yeah, let's fight. And you're like, please come fight in my tanks and libs. So yeah, you just got to be more methodical at sieging the tanks and libs forward, and you'll find when you distract with a drop or a lib, it allows you to get that siege up in a better position a lot easier as well. So maybe you start doing that every game. So you can be methodical, write your own notes. This is your Google Drive document. You can do whatever the fuck you want with it. Main mechanical thing would honestly be just learning an extra control group or 2. Even if it's just so we've got your most important secondary unit. Like the first push, you only had like 1 or 2 libs, you had 3 or 4 tanks. Tanks are the more important unit, right? Later on, it was mostly libs. You had like 6 liberators. They would have been the more important units. So they get on the secondary key, and it just makes it so easy to be like, oh, number 2, siege, pull back my bio a little. Oh, he's trying to get on top of my sieging unit, stim forward now, but only once he really commits in. Whereas we're erring on the side of stim and A move and then siege things up, or like something like that, you know. We want him to come into our sieged units, and it's going to be so much easier for you to set that up with time. So, GG, well played, guys. Thanks so much for the games. You guys should add friends if you want to play a few more games. I am going to make you the party leader, and I will let you guys play some more if you want while I tap out of that party. So yeah, congrats on winning the tournament. This was an awesome little coaching session. I think this is going to give you a nice kind of focused way to move forward. I also think it's good that we didn't try to focus you on learning a new opening, because who knows what's going to happen in the next few weeks as pros figure things out. The next months, you know, with the new Cyclone, maybe that's going to become a staple. I don't want to make any assumptions on that and teach you a build which we decide isn't good a week or two from now. So I think
I thought this was way better.
2-on-1's always good. Always good. There's people in GM who still do this in all 3 matchups. So we can always get good enough at it. Awesome sauce, man. All right, read over the notes either later today or tomorrow while watching the replays. Good luck if you do go through the F2 change. Hop in chat, let me know how it goes one day, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Pig. Thank you so much for the coaching. This is awesome.
No worries, man. All right, well, have a great day. Good luck in your